All right. Welcome everyone to another episode of the OpenJS Foundation's Cross-Project Council meeting. Today is what, like the 17th of January. Happy New Year to folks that haven't said that to yet. Let me get to the agenda here. Do we have any announcements? Get things rolling? Anyone?
Yep. Hey, CFPs are open for OpenJS World. Deadline is February 5th. So it's sneaking up on us. So if you have a great topic across the JavaScript ecosystem, your project or topic doesn't have to involve any of our projects, please submit. Everyone's welcome.
Great. Yeah, and that deadline's going to come up fast. I've got an action item to figure something out. Cool. Anything else? Nope.
Your security, you made a note in Slack about the next security collab space.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. There are a couple of meetings that I need to get back onto the calendar. I think the working session meeting isn't on the calendar, so I'll recreate that. Additionally is the security meeting, which I was planning to create before today because it would be at after this meeting. But I haven't made much progress on anything, so I'm going to use the next 2 weeks to get that security collapse baseball rolling again, and we'll recreate the next meeting for 2 weeks from today. So I hope to see folks around for that, and I'll try to maybe drop an update into Slack before then as well, so people have a little time to prepare and whatnot, get familiar.
Great.
Cool.
We have a board meeting on Friday. So our January board meeting, we usually take a look back and see how we're tracking on some of the metrics we've set, and then taking a look forward. So that'll be a good meeting.
Good. Great. Cool. So with that, I will jump into the agenda here, unless anybody has anything else. The first thing here is, this is issue 982. Determine what a realistic foundation/CPC review process could look like. I know we've talked about this a bit, about like NPS survey and stuff. I don't know if there's really any update here, or what we think next steps might be. I don't know if we should start hacking on a doc or something and figure out what that would look like. I watch people unmute and then mute again.
I guess just first question to confirm, if we came up with like 10 questions, with the foundation staff, use that to run a survey? That's a prereq that we should confirm, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that's sort of contingent on this too, I think we have some projects that are sort of in maintenance mode, or maybe need to wind down and go to, emeritus status. So I think it's these two things will probably have to happen in tandem. I mean, I think most of the projects where they are, but again, some of them have not been very active for a while. So it's maybe a two-part thing. How do we maybe survey the active ones? And so we'll have to make that determination. We have 40 projects now. So Toby?
Yeah, I'm just curious what the goal of like the survey is, and so what we would want to get out of actually doing something. I think it's great that we do something like that. I'm just wondering exactly what the purpose of it would be, and sort of like what would be the outcomes of the information we would get out of it.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Something we should document, so we feel like, when we're done, whether we achieved our goal or not.
Also, I should mention from just researching quickly, because I remember had heard this before, I think NPS is usually like very short. It's only like 2 questions.
typically, but
I think there's sometimes a few more than 2, but it's less, it's a small number. Like I was thinking 5, 10 at the most, right?
Okay. Well, we can, see what kind of questions we come up with and then kind of go from there, whether we have a smaller handful or a larger handful. Toby, you still have your hand up or is that fresh?
No, it's fresh. Should we just have a doc and like get started on putting questions together and maybe sort of like organically figure out like, do we all agree we want to ask these same 5 questions, or do we all have a very different sense of what it is that we want to do?
Yeah, I think that sounds great. And maybe, hack on some like goal language. What do we expect out of this? Unless we want to discuss that further right now. Luke, would you be able to fire up a doc for us, and then it'll be kind of in the OpenJS Foundation?
I'm actually doing that as we speak.
Thank you, appreciate it. Great, so then maybe we can drop a link into that issue with the doc, and then, maybe just a quick note that says, hack on questions and goal language in there. That'd be great. All right. Unless we want to talk about it more, I'll move on. And if anybody can drop any notes in the meeting minutes, that would be great. Next up on the agenda is issue 957. This is Ben asking about repos, whether we should use like badges or anything. I know, we went through and dealt with some of them. I'm going to look right now to see what we really have here. That doesn't tell me how many there are. I mean, we only have 1 page of repositories. That's not crazy. I guess it wouldn't be bad to make clear what the descriptions are, what the repos are in the description, and then you could make sense of them a little bit easier.
Yeah, I feel like the repo description should be sufficient.
Yeah, I think so too. And most of them have them. Although some of them we probably can, archive still going through here. Like there's the user feedback repo, which I think, we're trying to use to make it a little more self-serve, but I think we'll probably, go on a case-by-case basis working with the foundation.
Well, and in general, I feel like this issue is solving a problem that seems backwards to me. Like it's important to know who to ask about a given repo, right? If you have any questions about it, even if the question is, I have no idea what this whole repo is for, it's important that there be a way to figure out who you should talk to. But generally speaking, we might have 1,000 repos and nobody's going to be browsing them trying to figure out what they all do. They're going to be like, they have something they need to do and they're going to try and find the repo for it. So like the thing that might be more important to solve is, given a need, how do you get to the repo or repos that solve that need? Assuming the precondition that you know who to contact for any arbitrary repo.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, Jordan. I agree. And I think we should, I can put a comment into this issue and close it. But I don't know if it's widely known that there's a foundation channel in Slack. I mean, that would be the place I would go. There's sort of the grab bag of Ask Anything. But I'm not sure what else we should do regarding that. It seems like Slack's the place to go to ask things. So maybe that's good enough. All right. Well, I'm gonna, I want to leave a comment here. Leave comment later. Okay, so I'll do that later. Cool. Unless anybody has anything else, I will move on. I'll get back to that issue and put a comment in and close it. Next on the agenda is issue 953, which is the funds for project-driven initiatives issue. Last time we talked about it, and my comment has it here, we had some understanding of what this should look like. Requests should be made on an ad hoc basis. Requests should come through the CPC for evaluation. Requests should then be forwarded to the board for approval, and dollar amounts will be determined on an ad hoc basis. Proposed cap isn't necessarily how we will operate. I think the goal is to put this into a doc, into maybe the project resources directory. But otherwise, I'm not sure, but if open the floor if there's more to talk about here or what we want to do. If not, we just need to get this doc in there, I think, which I can try to look at doing. I'm just not sure all the time the next week or two. So if anybody wants to take a stab at it, that'd be helpful. Cool. I will keep moving on. The next issue is 910. This is the patching scripts for the COC modifications. There is a PR open for this, which doesn't look like it's linked to from here. But it is PR 972. And it's got some comments on it. Yangiz, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at this anytime recently.
Yeah, so that pull request is blocked by the pull request 991. So I like 10 minutes before this meeting, I pushed the changes, and when this pull request gets merged, then we can merge the build script for the COC template. So there are some comments. I don't know if we should all address them right now, because there are small changes to the baseline, or should we use a different pull request to keep track of these changes? But I recommend, like I did some of the fundamental things that are required from this, but I think we should merge it so it unblocks the other pull request, and then when the time comes, we can change it and update it as much as we want. But yeah, it all depends on.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Toby's saying something, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead, Toby.
No, I just wanted to second that. My understanding is like we're just moving a document across the repository and doing a small bunch of changes. And so we shouldn't discuss the content of that document in that pull request.
Yeah, I agree. The only changes that me and Joe did when we opened the first pull request was that the first sentence of the code of conduct mentions that this is like it gives a specific link inside the same README file, and it doesn't work anymore because we don't have that link. And in order to fix this problem, what we basically did is that I just changed the single line and changed the wording of it, and that's it.
Yeah,
but
no,
the thing
totally.
is, like, yeah, I might be bad at like, because I'm not a native speaker, I might have some grammar issues. Please tell them, and I will act fast, and let's get the ball rolling, I guess.
Yeah,
if that's
just to be clear, my comment was an approval of your comment, not trying to disagree with you. It was just like there was a whole bunch of like comments on that thread. And I just think that it's important to, as you said, move all of those comments outside and have a conversation about the content of that file elsewhere, if we want to. And in the meantime, just like the moving of that document and the adaptation of the content of that document in relation to it being moved, all of that is fine in that, pull request.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree with you. I
okay,
applied
good.
your changes.
We're in agreement. Let's do that.
Yeah, there's two different comments right now. Yeah, there's two different comments. One of them is moving the file. The second one is changing the words, because it will be easier to track in the future what kind of changes that we did to the original document. The
Perfect.
only missing thing is that, like, if you all can spend some time to read that specific sentence, if there isn't any grammar issues or anything that you don't agree, then we can get the ball rolling. Thank you.
So, so if I understand correctly, this pull request 981, like Toby was saying, is just essentially moving some things around. So, number one, Toby, you've got a block on this. So, assuming you're good, you can release that. And then Tierney, I think, has a block as well. But if I understand correctly, this is on some content related stuff that we should ask to move to a different pull request or issue. Is that correct?
Yes. My block is precisely on the fact that because the pull request doesn't show a move, but it's a block on the pull request itself, not its content. The fact that like we don't see it, like we should have like 2 or 3 commits in there that like show the move and then show the changes on that move, so that we're not having the rest of the conversation. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
right now, sorry.
Yagis?
Yeah, so that completely makes sense. But the thing is, we can't move the file right now, because if we move the file, we will lose the data. And so I just moved the first portion of the code of conduct, not the everything, because with the build script that comes the changes that we are going to apply. And according to those patch script that we will have in the other pull requests, the changes will be made. And only the first part will be constant and non-mutable in the OpenJS Foundation. This was one of the feedbacks from Jordan, I guess, and that's why we did it like that. So we want to first get the commit into the OpenJS Foundation, so we will use the SHA for that commit as a baseline for the first introduction part of code of conduct, and then the rest of the code of conduct will come from the code of conduct template from the internet. And then we will concat them, and then the script that I wrote will automatically apply the changes and then generate it.
Okay, that is super.
Yeah.
That is super clear, and I understand why. And it would be good if you essentially wrote that in the body of the comment for the pull request. So why this is happening that way is perfectly clear for everyone, and then we can just like pull that in. I'm sorry, this is super technical and a little annoying, but we want to make sure that we have like a track where like this stuff is clear, and like we don't have a whole bunch of long conversations on a regular basis about this.
I totally agree. This is not annoying at all. I just like I think I need to communicate this much more clearly.
No, it's a difficult problem.
Should I mention this in the like add code of conduct prefix text pull request or the other pull request? Which one would you think is easier?
I think in this one, just to get this one moved, and then we can move on. Yeah.
Okay.
Just to
perfect.
explain like super specifically what this one is and why it is being added and not moved, and maybe explain like when it's all going to make sense, like essentially what you said there, but like in the thing. I think that would be super helpful.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Yagis. And let me know if you need any help with that. Or...
Yeah, no, I will. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right, great. So then once we get that, we can look at moving that. Claudio?
Yeah, sorry, I just want to circle back, if that's no problem, to issue number 953, because it wasn't clear for me what are the next steps.
Which one is that? Sorry, let me get back.
It's the community funds, or funds for, sorry, the project-driven funds.
Oh, yeah. So we just need to get a doc into the project resources directory in the CPC repo that outlines, that further elaborates on the comment that I have in there that we discussed last time.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Are you going to make the PR because you have more context, or is that not assigned to anybody?
It's open to anyone, at least to get it rolling. I put like 4 bullet points into the last comment, or one of the last comments on that. And so that would be a good place to start, and we can kind of work on it as a group if we need to in a PR. Cool. So, interestingly, let's see. So that's, I'm trying to work my way backwards here. So we were talking about issue 910, but that one's resolved with the one we were just talking about. Oh, this is the prefix text. But there's also the other patch. Okay, so I feel like, these two issues are related. The issue 910 and pull request 851. Unfortunately, 851 has been around for a long time, and I can't wait for it to be gone. But I think this patching work that we're doing will resolve this, make this PR unnecessary. So that's the next one on the agenda, which I don't think we need to talk about unless anybody has anything more to add there. Yeah, I just added Rich. Cool. Thanks for joining, Rich.
Thanks. Sorry I'm late, but you know how it is. Glad to be here.
Yeah, cool. Great. So then if we, kind of move along there, we just have two more items here on the agenda. License check support and tooling. I assume that there's nothing new on this until the LFIT is fully staffed up and we kind of see how some of the other tooling plays out.
Yeah, and how the other tooling plays out in OpenSSF. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know the
makes
license.
sense.
I was going to say really quickly, the license scanner, I think, just landed in OWASP.
oh, good.
Yeah, so that could be helpful. Let me just ask really quickly, Claudio, do you have your hand up or no?
Oh, no, it was
Okay.
for the previous one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
just want to make sure. Michael, you had something?
I was going to ask this, like, it makes sense to take this off the agenda and have the foundation people put it back on when something happens.
I think it's not I think I'm fine leaving it on because Joe's colleague who's working on OWASP is sort of working on this tool that I could see. It sounds like then the LF would adopt it from the OpenSSF side and then collectively with us. So it's sort of making its way through communities. Let's put it that way. Is that a good interpretation, Joe?
Yeah, and I wonder too, because I've been meaning to meet with Matt more about some of the security collab space work that we wanted to do. And I know that there's a document developing in the security working group on the Node.js side as well. So I want to kind of figure out how that all fits together. But anyway, my thinking was maybe this is even something we could talk about in the security collab space in terms of I can get Matt into that call and we can figure out what things look like and how we might be able to move forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will try to remember to create an issue in the security collab space that references this as well, and we'll keep going. But I agree, Michael. We'll get this off soon. We'll figure out what the path forward is, and then we can.
Yeah, it's just like if it's just going to come up and we don't have anything to talk about every time, might as well wait to put it back on later. But
Yeah, we could
don't have any
just
strong feelings.
the review stuff where we look at stuff on a semi quarterly basis or something to make sure that we're still on track.
Yeah, and I think there's even a label we might have now too for that sort of thing. So, but let's give it another session, another whatever you call it, round, and then we'll figure it out. Cool. And then the last one here on the list, at least, is clarify requirements around COC violation. Toby opened this a really long time ago. And I think, so this one is, you've got some bullet points here, which would be cool to work on once we get some of that other stuff done too, I imagine. I don't know if you have anything, Toby.
I don't. It was holidays, and now it's no longer holidays.
No pressure. No pressure.
No. Yeah, no, I'm just thinking out loud here, but I was wondering how much of that we actually already covered in some of the more recent changes that are being discussed.
Yeah, I wonder that too. I think we did kind of touch on some of this. And I think there is even more that's waiting to land that might further pull this out. So I think that,
should-
sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, we should stick all of that in the same kind of like session, working session kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. Which is a great segue. Thank you, Toby.
You're welcome. Anytime.
You know, what we want to do for next working session. I mean, I think we're making progress on the code of conduct stuff, and I think it would be great to continue to focus on that. We've had some things here lingering. I think it would be great to keep pushing that forward if folks agree. You know, Yagiz and I or whoever else can help kind of move some of these PRs forward, but then we can button up some of the details that have been lingering. Cool. All right. Well, I'll put that down on the list, on the agenda for next week. That's all that we have for the agenda today. I'm quickly.
I have one more little thing, breaking news. A blog's supposed to be going out soon. I just heard about ticket sales to OpenJS World and Open Source Summit. So tickets go on sale January 25th.
And is that through Ticketmaster?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. You get Madonna tickets and OpenJS World.
Yeah.
2 for 1. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Great. That's cool. That's exciting. And I guess along those lines, I don't know, we have a program committee meeting tomorrow. Is that right?
We do. Yeah.
That's great. There are a handful of PRs open that if we wanted to, we could touch on, or folks could look at them and, you know, at their convenience. You know, try to keep moving some of these things forward. Yeah, is there? I guess we didn't talk about this at all, but was there anything to report from last week's working session? So that was on COC and moderation as well, right?
We spent a little time on that. We spent most of our time talking about Collab Summit planning, and Claudio has volunteered to help lead that. While Lead can't do it this year, so Claudio and the OpenJS team are going to support him, and anyone else actually who probably wants to participate in that.
Great.
Got a lot of work done. A lot of work done in that space.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Well, we can work more on COC and moderation and the panel, and I hate that word, but you know, the moderation team and all the little sort of details that we need to flesh out for that in the next working session, I suppose. But I encourage folks to take a look at some of the open PRs and issues and see if there's anything we can keep moving forward on. Anything we want to work on today still, or should we just get back 25 minutes? If I give you back 25 minutes, you got to spend a few of those minutes looking through PRs and issues. I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Cool. What's that?
I just said exactly.
Yeah.
Good. Cool. All right. Well, we'll call it a wrap then. I will see you all around, and yeah, thanks everybody. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.